All right, on to the second movie for Guillermo Canales. Thank you again for the donation to the channel. I really appreciate it. He asked for Lovely Molly as well as Farmhouse. So let's talk about Lovely Molly. Now, Lovely Molly is a film I have seen before. It is written and directed by Eduardo Sanchez from Blair Witch Project. And yeah, this is a very slow burn, ambiguous horror drama where everything is left open to your interpretation. I mean, I I'm not really sure what to make of the ending. In fact, the only real discrepancy I might have with the movie is that and this is going to sound weird because of how ambiguous this film does seem to be at times. I actually wish it was a little more ambiguous. That being said, I feel like I can explain what my take on this movie is. So I think it really just comes down to what you want it to be. So if you're somebody that's like, oh, I want it to be supernatural, then it can be supernatural. If you want it to be psychological completely, it can be that as well. I feel like the people who want it to be paranormal, I think that they're going to use the ending as their, evidence to support their claim that this is, you know, that this is otherwise, otherworldly, supernatural. And I can understand that because at the end of this movie, it does show some kind of like almost they look like a fucking witch doctor is what it looked like. I thought it was going to be a dude with a fucking deer head. That would have made more sense. Or I'm sorry, a horse head, because of all the pictures of the horse she put on top of the dad's head. Now, what that means, like the horse heads over the dad, I don't know. I missed that one. I don't get that one. What like symbolism, metaphor, or maybe something else in the movie happened that I missed. Because I'm sure she's not calling him a stud. So yeah, I mean, the way I take this movie is purely psychological. I take it as a young girl who was abused and molested, raped by her father. Her sister ended up killing her father, which no one knows about but them. Molly, she fell into drugs, and then she tried to get herself up out of them. She ended up being successful at it, met a guy. They end up getting married, and now she's being left home alone in the house she was raised in. And this is the first time she's been in it since she was a kid, where all of that shit happens. But her and her husband don't really have much, so they take what they can get in the house. So they're living in this house. She starts to feel like she's hearing the voice of her dead father. This drives her to try marijuana, just to kind of knock the edge off. This is a full gateway drug for her. Now, I'm not saying I think that these are gateway drugs. I'm just saying for her, for a recovering addict, they can't do anything. But she does, and she falls straight into her old ways and her old addictions, and she starts using again. And because of this, she loses her fucking mind. And she, she lures men, this man, the pastor, over to her house, who's supposed to be a good guy, right? He's supposed to be a man of faith. He's supposed to be celibate. He's supposed to only want her as, a person to help, not as a person to fuck. And so she tries to seduce him. He runs out, because he just, he has to be like, whoa, no, I want to do this, but I'm not supposed to. And then she gives him a call again, and he comes back over, and he just can't resist. And Because of this, she ends his life because he's not the man she thought he was supposed to be. And she's kind of taken out the sins of her father on this guy. Then her husband, she catches him cheating on her after she's abused him. Um, and when he comes home, she sticks a screwdriver through the back of his head, which is actually a really fucking brutal scene. Um, and then at the very end, I think we're getting a representation of what she's seeing in her head, because she points out multiple times, like, you don't see him to people and we don't see shit. So it's at this point when she's kind of completely committed herself, and now she's all in. She's killed her husband, she's killed her pastor, she's just gone. She walks outside and we see her interpretation, her vision, what she's seeing in her head. Now at the very, very end, her sister comes home to that house. She hears a creaking in the closet. She opens up the closet. She puts out her hand and the movie ends. Now, who is this? She seems transfixed on something, like she's getting the call now from her father. But I take this as she has her sister in the closet. And her sister is, bloodied and dirtied, but throughout the film you can see that she feels bad for letting her sister get hurt by her father. She should have stopped it sooner. She feels responsible for what happened to Molly. And so when she sees her there, even though she's committed atrocities, even though she's murdered a couple people, she has this moment where she's trying to make her decision. So this is why she pauses, and then she reaches her hand out, like, come to me, I'll save you, like, I'll take care of you. I should have done this before, like, it's my fault you're fucked up. That's how I see it. But I completely see the other side of it. Like, you want to see it as Molly really was getting some kind of corrupting voice from beyond, and he lured her to do monstrous things, and her sister ended up seeing this and is going to be the next lovely Molly. I can see that, and I'm not going to disagree if that's your series of events here. I just personally like sticking to this more, and I think this is a preference thing, honestly. I like the more psychological angle. I like that it's all in her head. Not all the time, not in every movie, of course. I wouldn't want to see that in every movie, but that's not the way I go in every movie. It's just what I'm presented with, versus what I get. Like, so if things are going in a way that I feel like this feels supernatural and it gives me enough evidence to support that, I'll go with that route. But this one, it felt purely psychological, and I understand that you can take it either way. It's just throughout, because of the drug use, because of her past, because of all those things, I think it just makes the most sense that it is more psychological. I feel genuinely bad, and I think the performance from this girl is quite good. And she definitely bears all. I mean, she really goes for it, and she has to kind of show her dark side. She has to show her nude side. She's fucking naked completely, like head to toe, in probably 20% of this film, which of course I'm not complaining about, but there's very rare times in this movie where I'm looking at her with her clothes off in like a sexual or like exciting way, where you're like, ooh, she's hot, she's naked. Like, there's moments like that for sure in the movie, but for the most part, it's like, Jesus Christ, man, this girl's so fucked up. Oh my God, this poor person, this poor, whoever. So I did feel bad. I will call bullshit though. She has like a little landing strip on her vagina, and it's like super like clean. And it's like, dude, she's been on heroin. She's been fucked up for weeks dealing with this shit. She would not be trimmed up. She would not be prim and proper down there, let me tell you right now. So I thought it was kind of funny that she had that. She should have had a bush, like full on. Or at least just kind of grown out. I mean, the fact that it's like catered is fucking funny to me. When I saw it, I was just like, yeah, that takes a lot of maintenance, and I just can't imagine her like shooting up and then being like, oh fuck, I gotta shave my pussy. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Um, the husband in this, I mean, dude, come on. You're gonna miss her first birthday that you guys are married? Really? You're gonna leave her at home when she's a recovering addict? You're gonna give her tons of time alone in her childhood house? You've got to know there was some wacky ass shit going on. You have to, otherwise you don't know this chick at all. You don't clearly have. She could hide it, sure, but dude, why is she on drugs? You know, a lot of people fall into it for very obvious reasons because they're trying to dull the pain of the past or the present. So this guy's just an oblivious idiot. Um, and I want to feel sorry for him, but I don't. Now, I will say, though, in the scene where she bites his lip, I will almost never say that my advice in this situation and my reaction to this situation, if I had a girl, any girl, doesn't really matter, but if I had anybody, female, kissing me and then biting into my lips. So this isn't a scene that lasts for like 1 second. She just like bites his lip and he pulls away. No, 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 no. She completely locks onto his lips and is biting into his face, and he is wrestling around with her. This scene goes on for a minute and a half straight. I mean, for fucking ever. Knock this chick out. My, like, 5 seconds in, I would have punched her face so fucking hard it would have broken her goddamn jaw. She would not have been able to bite down. I would hit her so fucking hard. Like, I'm never talking about abusing women, punching women, this and that. But if you bite into my face and will not let go, you have about a 3-4 second window before I knock the fuck out of you. I've never hit a woman for almost any reason, but there's very few exceptions, and this is one of them. If like a chick had my kid held hostage, or like tortured my child or something, I would fucking beat them to death. You know what I mean? Like they don't get a fucking full pass no matter what. There's definitely times where you need to do what you got to do, and that's one of them. Bites, just like full chomp into both of his lips, chomped down. He can't move. He's flinging her around. He's trying to push. He's grabbing her face. He's doing anything. Dude, just fucking. I was screaming the whole time. Punch the fucking chick, please. Holy hell, man. What are you doing? I mean, I get he loves her and all, but dude, that's. You got to know when to hold him and when to fold him. You got to know when to hold him. And that beating on the door, that when they go downstairs and there's that beating at the door, or I think it's just her when she's home alone. Yeah, when she's home alone, right? Because he would have been. No, it was when she's home alone. She goes down by the door and there's just this really fast fucking beating and rattling on the door, so fast and loud. That would be terrifying. Imagine being home alone at night and like you think you hear something and then you go towards the back door where already had a break-in and just something starts banging and rattling on the doors. This reminds me of the Blair Witch Project a little bit when they're banging on the tent on the outside. That would be terrifying. And this movie even has some found footage to offer, so very Eduardo Sanchez. And let's see. Filming sex scenes has got to be bizarre. Like when they're fucking in this movie and she's on top of him and she's riding him and they're both completely naked and her tits are like fucking bouncing around and everything. How do you not get a hard on? How do you do those scenes? And when like they have the scenes where they're like making out hard with they're completely naked and he's literally like going down and sucking on her nipples and biting on them and doing all that stuff. Like, dude, there's only so much you can do before it's not really acting anymore. I mean, if a dude, especially like these Hollywood guys, I'm not saying this guy's the best looking dude, but there's plenty of scenes where it's like Antonio Banderas or something, and he's down there and he's like, he's completely naked, pressed against your naked body, and he's pretending to fuck back and forth, and he's got his mouth over your tits, and he's clearly like legitimately sucking on your nipples. There's no way you're not into it. There's no way. There's just no way. I just don't buy it. So when when your wife's like, oh well, what's up with that scene? You didn't enjoy that. Oh no, honey, it was just the scene. It was just acting. Bullshit. This lovely Molly chick was on top of me, riding me with her tits in my face, and we were both naked, pressed together. What does he wear? Does he wear like something over his dick to like keep it down? And you gotta like, I have to use some serious duct tape to keep that thing from rising up and accidentally going inside of her. Accidentally. I don't know. When I was watching this is just yet another one of those sex scenes I watch, and I'm like, how do they do this? How do you do it as an actor? What you have to do if you're a guy, pro tip, is you got to jack off like seconds before they start the scene. Like you got nothing left in the tank, you have no interest in sex, and then you go in there and you're like, I'm good. I bet you guys do that. I bet you they do. I thought of it in like 2 seconds, so I'm sure they thought of it as well. Now, the deer in the basement scene, when she comes down and she's getting the deer, she's cutting this like rotting deer out of what looks to be like almost a womb. This makes me wonder if her dad got her pregnant and she had to get an abortion. This is what I took from that scene. Could be wrong, but I don't know. It just seemed like symbolism like that. So maybe I'm wrong on that one. What do you think? Um, and the dude that she walks out to that puts his arms out, he looked like a fucking witch doctor, right? I called the witch doctor. He was in love with you. Bum 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 bum. That's what it looked like. He like had one of those freaking like those masks on. That's what I got from it. And the horse heads. I already mentioned this, but what do you got? I don't got anything for that one. He's hung like a horse. I mean, when you're like 5, I think everyone is, right? Bad joke. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really think that this movie is going to be very dependent on whether or not you like Molly and you care about her. Because her ghost of her dad is fucking her in this movie in the hallway, and she goes off on her boss, like, who's fucking me? This and that. Her dad. So the ghost of her dad is fucking her in the hallway. Um, Now, was she into it in that scene? I don't know. Was she being raped or was she being fucked? There's a huge difference. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could get into the psychology of that. Like now she's enjoying it. I don't know. I don't think that's the case at all. But I mean, she's just kind of sitting there and taken from behind. I don't know. That was an interesting scene where she's clearly getting fucked. Um, but that's got to be the ghost of her father. But anyways, very interesting movie. Good performance. Yeah, it's very atmospheric, very slow burn, and not going to be for everybody. But I quite enjoyed it. I had seen it before, but this was a better viewing for me for sure. I quite liked it this time, and the first time I think I was very indifferent on it. But the atmosphere got me. The performance I liked. The nudity I liked, of course, from the first time. But that was all secondary bullshit to me. I don't even care about that stuff when it comes to the actual overall story. And yeah, what do you guys think? Are you taking it more supernatural or are you going to take it more psychological? Let me know. Thank you, Remo. Seriously.